They tried to steal my truck in broad daylight right out of my own driveway using fake government papers and a tow truck that rolled up like it was all rehearsed. A red violation sticker slapped across my windshield, a woman barking into 911 on speaker claiming my Ford blocked fire access. And for a split second, I thought maybe I had lost my mind. That's how fast it can happen. You blink, and your life feels like it's no longer yours. Tuesday started like any other. I was under the hood swapping spark plugs, grease on my knuckles, radio humming in the background. That truck isn't just a vehicle, it's a legacy. My dad and I rebuilt it over a snowy Christmas years ago, and every bolt holds a memory. Then I heard the diesel rumble. A flatbed tow crept down the street, followed by a white sedan. Out stepped this woman in a navy blazer, clipboard in one hand, papers in the other, like she owned the whole damn neighborhood. She marched straight up and asked, "Are you the owner of this vehicle?" Her tone wasn't a question. It was a declaration. Before I could even answer, she was already on the phone with 911, her voice calm, rehearsed. "This vehicle is blocking emergency fire access," she said. The tow driver positioned his rig like he'd done this routine 100 times before. Then she introduced herself. Evelyn Drake, HOA Compliance Officer. She waved a document in my face, dripping with city seals and references to something called Fire Code 742. "This is an official notice," she declared, pressing a bright red sticker onto my windshield, "and your vehicle qualifies for immediate municipal seizure." I stared at the papers, official on the surface, but something about them reeked of theater. My chest tightened. How the hell does an HOA officer suddenly wield the power of city government? I climbed into my truck, turned the key, and the engine purred like a dream. If this is blocking access, why does it run perfectly fine? I revved it, pulled out a tape measure, and proved there was clearance for any emergency vehicle. She hovered close, muttering about protocols, but I wasn't buying it. That's when a police cruiser rolled up. Officer Lewis stepped out, looked over her paperwork, and his brow furrowed. "Ma'am, this formatting doesn't match city citations," he said flatly. The tow driver unhooked his chains in silence. Evelyn's face flushed red. "This isn't over," she hissed, storming back to her sedan. I stood there gripping the fake red tag, knowing this was just the beginning. That night, an envelope appeared under my wiper. More official documents, this time declaring my truck municipal property pending review. I spread them across the kitchen table. My wife Renee, with her nurse's sharp eye, pointed out the obvious. "Jordan, these signatures are all the same hand. Look, the city seal is blurry photocopied." We sat for hours piecing together the fraud. But I'll admit at one point I cracked. I sat there staring at those letterheads, the language so bureaucratic and convincing, and I thought, what if I'm wrong? What if they can actually take it? That moment of weakness scared me more than the documents themselves. For a second I almost gave in. Maybe surrendering the truck was easier than fighting City Hall, or so I thought. But then one phone call flipped everything. I dialed the number on one of the documents expecting a clerk. Instead, I got a voicemail. "Yo, this is Trevor." My blood ran cold. Trevor, Evelyn's son. They weren't just bluffing, they were orchestrating a full-blown scam. And it wasn't just me. Mrs. Patterson, my elderly neighbor, showed up trembling with similar papers, claiming her vintage motorcycle had to be donated to a youth program. Then Mr. Justin revealed he'd been told his workshop tools violated property codes and needed to be confiscated. Different stories, same beneficiary, Trevor Drake. Piece by piece, it all came together. Evelyn wasn't protecting the neighborhood, she was robbing it one fake citation at a time. But then came the gut punch. My truck vanished overnight. Gone. In its place, a receipt bearing Evelyn's signature authorizing transfer to Trevor. That's when the despair hit me like a freight train. Sitting in my empty driveway, I thought, it's over. They actually won. I felt powerless, humiliated. And part of me wanted to walk away, forget it, let them have it. But Renee looked me dead in the eye and said, "If you give up, she'll keep doing this to everyone." That lit the fire. We organized. Neighbors gathered in my garage, each carrying their forged notices. We spread them out one after another, and the pattern was undeniable. Phony departments, fake codes, disconnected phone numbers. It wasn't just theft. It was organized fraud. We built a case, and when the city council opened for public comment, I stood at that microphone and laid it all bare. The chamber went silent as I held up Evelyn's forgeries. "This is fraud," I said, my voice steady, "and it's happening right here in Riverside Meadows." The fire chief himself confirmed, "There is no Fire Code 742. These documents are fabrications." Evelyn stood up, sputtering about misunderstandings, but the city attorney cut her down cold. "These are serious crimes. This is government impersonation." For the first time, her mask cracked. But it didn't end there. The state attorney's office picked up the case. They armed me with a recorder, sent me to meet Evelyn in her HOA office. My hands shook as I asked, "How does the HOA issue municipal notices?" She smiled, too confident, too smug. "We use city templates," she explained, "to act faster than the bureaucracy allows. Community safety requires creative solutions." She admitted everything: document fraud, impersonating departments, even bragging that Trevor volunteered to maintain confiscated property. I walked out knowing we had her. Days later, the hammer dropped. Investigators caught Trevor selling parts stripped from my truck online exhaust system wheels, even my custom fog lights. He was arrested at the impound lot, still clutching fake paperwork. Evelyn tried to run, but police found her with packed suitcases and shredders humming. Both were dragged out in handcuffs, facing decades in prison, fraud, theft, conspiracy, racketeering. I drove my truck home that evening, stripped, but mine. The driveway felt different, like the air was finally clear. Evelyn's empire of lies had collapsed, her arrogance dismantled piece by piece. And as I looked at that battered Ford, one thought cut through the silence. If you don't stand up to bullies, especially the ones hiding behind fake authority, they'll steal more than your truck. They'll steal your whole neighborhood.